We received very sad news over the weekend with the passing of a friend of the show and indeed friend of many, Dermot Hayes. Dermot, a founder of the Clare Leader Forum and chair of the Clare branch of the Irish Kidney Association, passed away peacefully last Friday evening. Dermot was a tireless advocate for disability rights in this county and beyond for more than 3 decades. Let's hear a little piece from my in-profile conversation with Dermot from April 2023, in which he talked about his efforts to advocate for more rights for those with disabilities and the need to keep pushing for more rights.
People are more aware of their rights and stuff like that, and there's been legislation put in place and stuff like that. It was great, really. But the thing that goes on, and it goes on in my head all the time, is the existence of large disability organisations, really, that treat people in a paternal view, really, with a paternal view. Then again, we can all become dependent on various things, and people become dependent on it, really, whether it is the transport, which, they might have any alternative, but to depend on an organisation to bring them here or bring them there, and the charity stuff like that. So we're trying to get away from that, trying to get people away from all that, really, to live independent. I know it's easier said than done, really, because the infrastructure are not there properly yet for people to live a full, wholesome life, really, to do what they feel they can do within their ability to do things, really. So we're getting there, but legislation is there about the whole issue of discrimination, and a number of people with disabilities are working now, really. Not enough now, not above the 60, there's still about 55 or 60% with disabilities of working age, still unemployed, really. And there's a catch there about people with disability allowance or invalidity pension, all that kind of catches, really. But the main trust is there, really, but we have to keep pushing the door all the time, really, because not alone like the local council to measure up. They have measured up in some places, but they have measured up properly, really, Yeah, they have a lot way to go, really. And one of the things that really kills me, really, is the whole separation of the education for children. They should be all in a mainstream setting, really, in a mainstream. We shouldn't have special schools for disability. We shouldn't have special this for disability, really.
It's kind of othering them, almost.
Yeah. We shouldn't have that, really. We should get away from all that, really.
And that was part of my in-profile conversation with Dermot Hayes, which you can hear again this coming Wednesday. And we're joined now by Anne Marie Flanagan, disability rights campaigner and member of the Clare Leader Forum, to remember the life and legacy of our dear friend and colleague Dermot Hayes. And Anne Marie, thank you so much for joining us. And just firstly, our deepest condolences to you and all who knew and loved Dermot, and I really do appreciate you joining us this morning. What comes to mind when you think of Dermot today?
Thank you, Alan, for having me, and I'll do my best here to get through it. And I just want to first extend my absolute heartfelt and deepest sympathy to Marion, Amy and Maurice and his beloved brothers and sisters, and to all of us. We are stunned and heartbroken and never imagined that this day would happen. So what can I say about Dermot? I suppose the first thing, Alan, is that we had the lovely conversation with you on Thursday before the 3rd of December. And that was a lovely conversation. And I remember leaving the studio slagging him, saying, God, Dermot, you were very articulate there. And he was reflecting on, you asked him what was achieved and what needed to be done. And I suppose that was what stands out, and what I will carry forward with Dermot is that he always focuses on what people have not and what people are entitled to. And I suppose everything about Dermot was about human rights and dignity and respect. And I suppose I in reflecting as well, I thought his whole contribution to a just society was from the very beginning intersectional. It wasn't about any one group of people. It was every human being had the right to a good life. And he wrote the most beautiful book called A Road That Rises, and it was assisted by Breda Shannon. She just did a fantastic job in helping Dermot get everything down on paper. And I really encourage everyone, if you haven't the book already, it is just gorgeous. It is Dermot, it's his words, it's how he phrases things. Nothing is left unsaid. And he talked about being 17 and becoming very politically aware and the language that was used at the time was working class, and for him it didn't sit right. He thought about people on the margins, and at that very young age he was very mindful of how education lifted people out of poverty. People had a right to an income, and people had a right to a home, and he carried that theme throughout his life.
I mean, the dedication and devotion and hard work of over 35 years of campaigning for disability rights, even last year we can see that honoured, as you mentioned, he got that Lifetime Achievement Award at the Forum's event last December, and in May last year received an award from Clare Older People's Council. We've seen so many tributes across Clare, Anne Marie, online and elsewhere to Dermot, from so many people, from so many different walks of life within the county. What does that say about the impact he had, naturally through his activism, but just as somebody who was very personable and very easy to get along with?
I mean, I within an hour of the news that Dermot had passed, I opened social media, and it was blowing up. That's how I would describe it, from people all over the world, and particularly in Clare, and where he had the greatest impact, and of course nationally. And what it said about Dermot was he touched the hearts and minds of everybody who knew him. He worked vigorously. If you look at maybe Sarah Clancy, who was involved in the Clare Public Participation Network, she talked about even just before he passed, when he was very ill, how when they were strategic planning, he was talking about housing and homelessness. That was his greatest passion, I would say, in particular for disabled people, but for everybody in society to have a home, because home was where I suppose he experienced from childhood right to his last day, safety, security, dignity and respect. And I suppose we look at Maslow's hierarchy, we know we have to have the most basic, and for Dermot it was around ensuring that happened. And he was always on the heels of local authority and the Department of Environment to do better, government to do better when it came to a right to a home for everybody. And again, Dermot was incredible in speaking and being an ally and an advocate for everybody. He was passionate about the right to travellers having the right to accommodation, and then that was the language we used back years ago. Now it's a right to a home. When he moved into the older persons bracket, he got involved because he brought this macro political analysis. It wasn't just showing up. Even when he got involved in the Irish Kidney Association, I mean, he wasn't there a wet week when he became the chairperson. And just so the people, to make sure the Christmas party went ahead, I mean, he got out of hospital, attended the annual Christmas party for the Clare branch just recently before he died. I mean, when he was in hospital, I would go to the hospital and we would be planning what's next for the Clare Leader Forum. And I just found this beautiful video clip I sent into the group where we were in hospital last May, and he was said, put on that video there now, and I'll send a video message to the lads. We have to keep the work going, and that's how Dermot couldn't be still, and it was always about other people. And I suppose I just want to also take a moment. He absolutely was so passionate about the right of people forced to live in nursing homes, and we know what a beautiful friend he was to Jennifer, who we all hope will find her forever home. He constantly kept attention on that injustice, because his whole being was about caring and loving.
And there's no
everybody.
There's no doubt that Dermot's was a life well lived. Anne Marie, we so appreciate you remembering your dear friend, particularly as it is such an emotional time. We will let you go. Anne Marie, thank you so much for taking the time to remember. And that's Anne Marie Flanagan there with us, speaking about the late great Dermot Hayes, tireless advocate for over 3.5 decades. And once again, our deepest condolences to all who knew Dermot, friends and family, and may he rest in peace.